Welcome to the Higher Self-Worth Podcast. This is Robert Christensen. Thank you for joining me. I greatly appreciate you joining the community as we travel to our successes and keep them through higher self-worth. I took off some time so that I could focus on writing my next book, which is called 90 Days to Higher Self-Worth. It is a workbook with 1 page per day for 90 days. The book is available at higherselfworth.com, or you can get it on Amazon directly if you'd like. The workbook is divided into 3 major sections, each section, 4 weeks in each. And the first section is all about building the foundations of self-worth. Now, the foundations of self-worth are global in nature, meaning that you feel good about who you are, that you believe that you have value, that you contribute to society, and that people want to see you. So there's all these fundamental core value statements that need to be put into your system, need to be reprogrammed in and to push out the core values of lower self-worth. And now that really can become difficult. If you have those challenging beliefs, I recommend that you do this workbook for 90 days and get the value that comes out of it by just simply performing the exercises. Now, you could do the gift for 90 days, and that's really helpful, but this process is a little bit more disciplined and structured and gives you a day-by-day measurement of how you're doing. You can look back on your days and say to yourself, I'm making progress. I'm feeling better about myself. I don't talk so negatively about myself. And so that first section is very critical. It's very critical about what it is that you should be saying to yourself about your self-worth. The next section is all about building money in your life. I have a very specific feeling about money, and that is money can solve 9 out of 10 problems of your life. There's some things that money can't buy. Obviously, love, affection, regard, higher self-worth. You can't just go buy higher self-worth. But money does solve a hell of a lot of things, and it gives you a sense of security when you have it. And believe me, having a sense of security is a huge higher self-worth feeling. And so I've dedicated 4 weeks, 28 days to nothing but higher self-worth around money and money learning. And this is a key aspect of this workbook because you want to focus in on what it takes to build security in your life. When you do not have security, you don't feel like you're settled. You don't know what to do next. You get in fights with people. It is often the cause for breakups of relationships and the discomfort amongst people who simply can't afford to go do the things that they need to go do. And so I believe self-worth and the building of a wealthy lifestyle is a key aspect of higher self-worth. And that's section number 2. And then section number 3 is all about health and relationships. So we spend 14 days on health and another 14 days on relationships. Now let's talk about health. Without a healthy body, life sucks. It just does. When you're in pain or you're sick or you can't walk or you can't get out of bed, you feel like you have a sense of doom on you because you don't feel good. You don't feel healthy. I know that many of my illnesses that I've had and the problems I had were self-inflicted. I ate poorly. I didn't exercise. I didn't take supplements. There's a lot of stuff I should have done, but I didn't do that contributed to the downfall of my health. There are things that I can't control regarding my health. Cancer, aging. I get in an accident, I trip and fall and hurt myself. There's a bunch of stuff that could happen, but there are things so in my control, like exercise and what I eat. These 2 things are so intertwined with how I view my health. I cannot overstate them. What I pump into my body as fuel and how I move my body to exercise it dictates so much over my attitude about how I feel about my health. I don't want to look into the mirror and say that I'm fat. I don't want to grab a roll on the side of my body and say, "You're disgusting, Robert." But that's what I used to do. oh my God, I talked so negatively about myself and how I didn't like the body that I saw in the mirror. No matter how many exercises I did, no matter how many sit-ups and push-ups and running and biking and just name it. It all led to a negative self-worth image that I had in my head about my body and my health. And so we dedicate a section of this workbook to getting better. And then lastly, we go into relationships. Now, relationships are fundamental to a happy life. It is well documented. A lot of studies into the key piece of happiness is strong interpersonal relationships. Having people that are key in your life that you love and they love you. Happiness comes from human connection. It is well documented. So in the workbook, we dedicate our last section, the last 14 days, to exercises, affirmations, and feedback to ourselves about the quality of our relationships. The quality of our relationships are dictated by how complete I am with the people that are in my life. Meaning that, is there something left unsaid? Was there something I was supposed to do that I didn't do? Are there resentments that I have towards others for things that they have done to me that I have not forgiven them for? And I choose to reenact that situation over and over in my brain, hoping that something will change. That negative narrative, that relationship problem narrative in my head, is the source for lower self-worth. It holds me back. It's like I'm addicted to bagging on other people or holding me victim to the shit that they did to me. Now, what this does in the workbook is to rewire that section of my brain so that I have the opportunity for a happier, higher self-worth life. Your job is to simply do the work, to have the discipline every day to do these pieces inside the workbook. It may seem trivial. Some of these exercises are not hard. You basically got to repeat an affirmation 10 times in the day. You may have to just write down the things I did right. You look for negative language that's holding you back, and you create these mantras and affirmations that work for you on a daily basis. Now, this is what's called conditioning. We are changing the neurosynapses in your brain, in your subconscious mind, so that it will repeat these things over and over and over again in a way that you do not have to monitor. Think about it. Wouldn't it be better to have positive narrative in your brain? What I mean by narrative is the self-talk that says, I'm a good person and no matter where I go, people like me, versus I don't really think I fit in anywhere and I have to really work hard to get people to like me. I'd rather have the previous one. I'd rather just kind of slide through life thinking that everything was going great. I got to do my job, of course. I got to take care of stuff, but I don't want to have to fight my own thoughts. Come on, let's get on to the program here and let's change our thinking. The book is up on Amazon. It's called 90 Days to Higher Self-Worth. It's available now. You can also find it at www.higherselfworth.com, where you can order the book direct. Go ahead and order it. It's in paperback because there's writing inside it. So there's no Kindle version and there's no Audible version. This is actually a workbook that you got to put pen to paper to. All right. I greatly appreciate it. I'll be posting more about this each week, about the 90 days to higher self-worth.
This has been a Motive for Life Productions, all rights reserved.